Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you like what we do here and you want us to continue to pump out this great content, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and also make sure to check out our new page. It's PrepZone.info. There you'll find all of our content in one place, and also all of our game reports and photo galleries from the sports and events we attend and cover. And before I head over to the podcast, I want to say a big thank you to our sponsors. Are you looking to buy or sell your home, or just curious about what the current real estate market is? Check out AlessandroDivinoHomes.com. Working with Alessandra is your key to succeeding in this current real estate market. And also, ASF Sports and Outdoors. ASF is our sponsor for the Student Athlete of the Month, and check them out. They are 1560 Post Road East, and their website is shopasf.com. Now, let's head over to the podcast. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining the PrepZone Podcast. I'm your host, Estevao, Divino, and I'm delighted to have you with me from the Staples Gymnastics team, Coach Kelsey and Victoria Fidalgo. How you guys doing?
Good. We're great. We're excited for you to learn about some gymnastics.
Yeah, hopefully I'll learn, and the listeners will learn as well, right? Victoria, how are you?
I'm good. I'm excited for the season to start and to start competing and everything.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun, right? And I guess, Coach, I'll kick it off with you to ask about, gymnastics is an Olympic sport. We all know about it, right? It seems like Paris Olympics are coming up right now, 2024, so it's going to get in everybody's mind. But if you want to get a taste of it locally in high school sports, how do we go about it?
Right. So we practice at the Westport Y. They just actually had a huge addition. It's a brand new state-of-the-art gym, 3 or 4 years old. So we have the luxury of practicing and having all of our meets there. They're usually on Wednesday or Thursday nights. It's actually a lot of fun. As you say, everyone knows Simone Biles and all of the Olympics, and it's more individual. But high school is a lot more team. If you follow college gymnastics, is actually really up and coming. ESPN does a whole Friday night Heights, it's called, and LSU, Florida, all of them, Utah, they average 20 to 30,000 people at these meets, and it's one of the only sports. Clemson's added it. It's really, people are adding the sport, so it's growing exponentially. So we're really excited, and hopefully, a couple students or someone will come to a meet because it's a lot of fun. If you ever have been to a USAG meet, it's very dry, individual. Right. But our high school experience is a lot more like the college atmosphere when there's a lot of yelling and cheering, and it's a really fun, it's almost a party atmosphere. So we encourage everyone to come check it out. Yeah,
listen, I know we will be there. We're going to try to definitely do that. And Victoria, you've been doing it for 3 years, right? You've been doing on gymnastics. What do you love most about it?
Well, I've been doing gymnastics for all my life, but only Staples Gymnastics for 3 years.
Okay.
And it's very different from club gymnastics. Club gymnastics is very individual based, and I love Staples Gymnastics because we focus more on the team rather than how you do individually. You're really looking out for one another, and your teammates are just supporting you rather than competing against you.
Yeah, and I can imagine the camaraderie, right? You guys stick together for how long is the season?
It goes from now until, if we make it, the last one is New England's, which actually last year, our senior last year finished second in New England's, and that goes through mid-March. So hopefully, last year we had an incredible season, and so we're hoping to continue that stretch.
And is it an FCX, CIAC sport?
It is.
So it is, right?
Last year we got third in FCX, second in states, and we had a lot of girls qualify for state opens, which is the individual. And we had one of our spectacular seniors from last year, Mary Guster. Her she should have gotten first in New England's, but she got second on a controversial tiebreak. But she graduated, but we have a lot of people coming in. And we have our little sister coming in, which is a great asset to the team. When I first started, I had 4 girls on the team 14 or 15 seasons ago. And we've built it. We have 18 girls on the team this year. And we also started the Norwalk High School team because a couple of girls came with me, and they practice. And this year they have a team of 5, so they have a full team, which we're very excited about as well.
It's great, right? It just it goes to your work and how you're building the team up, right? It always starts like that and goes. Victoria, last year, how was your season last year? How did you guys do last year? And what do you think the season's going to be like this year?
Last year, we started off, maybe a little rocky, but then we really built up the team, and we got together and we focused. We had this saying, focus but have fun. And we really tried to integrate that into every meet. And then we ended up getting third at FCX, which we didn't really even expect, because in the past years we were trying not to get last. So it was really an improvement. And we were all really happy. And then we continued with that same mindset at States and got second at States.
We also got the Spirit Award, which was exciting. It's all the other coaches and players and gymnasts vote on which team they thought had the most camaraderie and team spirit throughout the whole year. So that was, they were more excited about that. That was, it was a big accomplishment, showing how close we were as a team. We
really value that, energy.
I think you have to, right? Because, you go through so much together. It's like I always try to say, nobody sees the grind, but you see the results. And I'm sure you guys practice all the time and all that stuff. So it's got to show up somewhere. So that's great that it did.
Yes, gymnastics is a very grinding sport. People as young as first grade get homeschooled and do 40 hours a week. It's not uncommon. And gymnastics, if you think about it, really is 4 different sports, each apparatus, and an average person cannot just go in a gym and do what we do. They're flipping. It's very dangerous. So the grind, the conditioning, there is a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Literally, we have holes in our hands, rips in our hands, a lot of tape, and for the whole season to, conclude. And it's a really rewarding experience.
Yeah, I can imagine, because it to me, it's like, and I guess I want to ask you this. Gymnastics, it's so popular in the Olympics, right? I think you think about Olympics, it's swimming, gymnastics, right? It's what you go for in track and field. And those sports don't seem to get a lot of traction in high school. Why is that? Do you guys ever think about that? Yes.
Yeah, we try to. That's why we're on this podcast right now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I did high school gymnastics. I was a big competitive gymnast as well. And every year we would win FCX in states, or we would get all these accolades, and they're like, we have a gymnastics team. And it was like, we're a very talented team. Even last year, I put it on the announcements. We put it on the new Instagram feed and everything. Yeah. And still 90% of what? Gymnastics? Oh, isn't that cheerleading competition? So... but as I said, I think we're becoming more mainstream. We are really trying. We're doing more outreach. We went to the push-ups for cancer.
I remember we saw you guys there. It was great.
And we've done some events with the Westport Y. We've done some events with the field hockey and soccer teams at bake sales and stuff like that. So we are trying to get out there, but it is a really fun and unique sport to watch. And once people go, all they can say is, I can't believe they actually do that. It's insane. And it really is. I always
every time the Olympics come around, I always like to think what would a normal person look like doing that in front of all these athletes, right? It would be insane. Victoria, so you're a senior this year.
Yes.
So what are you going to do next year? Going to school? You know where you're going? What are your plans for next year?
I don't know where I'm going yet. I've applied and I'm hearing back soon, so.
That's great. Are you going to do gymnastics, or are you just thinking about going to school? What is your criteria for the place you're looking at?
I'm thinking about going to school, definitely staying active. If the school I end up at has a club team, I would definitely think about it. Gymnastics is a lot on your body, so I would just have to evaluate if I can still continue doing it.
Yeah, the path for high school, for college gymnastics from high school, it's I guess hard as all the other sports are. A lot of competition, right? Mm-hmm. So, Coach, I want to ask you, I read that you majored in...
kinesiology.
There you go. Thanks for helping me with that.
Yes, I did. I went to UConn. Go Huskies. Good win last night. I love the body, and I also had a coaching and degree from there and a sport administration. So I have lived my entire life in sports. I've also coached the Staples JV team for 14 years, and for 12 years I did the tennis team as well here. But gymnastics was always my main passion and still is, continues to be. But I'm also in the fitness industry. I teach a lot of fitness classes, and I manage a fitness facility as well. So I'm always around fitness, kinesiology, working, and
right. In kinesiology, I did some research on it. It's kind of the body movement, right? And you guys doing gymnastics, I'm sure it's all about body movements and body parts.
Correct.
Right. So how do you? And I don't know the right way to ask it. It's prevent injuries, but how do you make your body fit? If somebody asks you a tip, this is what I like to do to be put my body through everything that Victoria just said and really not be subject to injuries all the time? What is, as from someone who had a degree in that, what would you say to that?
Correct. A lot of the times what I studied, they probably would not recommend gymnastics. It's probably not the most healthy thing you can put your body through, but what sport is, right? But we do a lot of conditioning in the off season, especially in the summer. 90% of the girls do it all year round, but it's a lot of condition, and it's a lot of body weight conditioning. It's a lot of isometric movements, and a lot of dynamic. It's a lot of abs, shoulders, legs, plyometric things. We do a lot of recovery as well, especially with the older girls, the high school girls. We do a lot of foam rolling. We do a lot of, they call it Kelsey Martin, a lot of Pilates classes and stuff like that. And we really do try to take care of our bodies. A couple, like 20 years ago, it used to just be like 20 beam routines, 100 repetitions of everything. But coming from the top of the elite world, there's been obviously a lot of weird things going on in the gymnastics community. But they really have changed it to less repetition and more really working on the little like minute details. So we're not doing as many reps anymore. And we're also not doing hard surfaces. We land on pits. We land on a lot of a lot of bulkier mats and stuff until the competition, because we found a lot is just, that's how Achilles, that's rupture, and that's how a lot of injuries, especially we have a lot of stress fractures. And so we are really maintaining with that. We have a whole program design for like the whole off season and on season. So we really do stick with it, and it's gotten a lot better injury wise.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Like I said, I think I saw some of your Instagram feeds, and that you guys were doing some jumping into I guess it was a foam pool or something like that, right? And I'm like, just doing that is like, my mind just blows away. Victoria, so you mentioned that, I just want to go back a little bit. You said you've been doing all your life gymnastics, right? So what has been your path to start gymnastics? Can you talk a little bit about when you started, how you got to high school, and I guess that year that you're injured? Can you talk a little bit about how your story's been in that?
Well, I mean, now I take it back. Not all my life. I started when I was 6.
Okay. It is all your life. 26 years old, but go ahead.
I saw, I would always see some girls at the playground doing flips, and I thought it was really cool. So I asked my mom to sign me up, and I started at Arena Gymnastics in Stamford, and then it's just been from then on. I've done it consistently.
It has always been your passion then to do that, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you were injured your freshman year. Was that it?
Yes.
So what happened there?
I got a concussion, and I was out for like 6 months. I was also injured sophomore year too.
Oh, so you've been fighting injuries like all your career, kind of that, right?
Sophomore year, it was right after FCX, so at least I got to compete at FCX.
That's good. But what's I guess what it shows is resilience, right? Doesn't matter what happens, you just keep going and you just keep with the sport, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you both this question. You guys can tell me. So, what's your best memory of Staples Gymnastics? It can be a competition, it can be a practice. When you think about it, what I want you to think is like, this summed up my experience up to now with Staples Gymnastics. Coach, we'll start with you.
Mine's a little different. Mine is, I get blown away that a lot of the girls still come back to me or text me like random things about, I always say like, gymnastics is not a really sport like tennis I play still or anything like that. You can pick up tennis, soccer, but gymnastics, it has a shelf life. But all of these girls, and I always say I teach the girls life lessons. And when girls text me in college or come back to visit I had lunch with about 10 alumni last year. Even Thanksgiving break, we had about 14 girls come back. That really means everything to me. And they say, you don't realize how much you changed my life, or you helped me get through high school. Or when the girls say, you get burnt out a lot in gymnastics. And I would say by senior, all of the girls who have graduated say, Staples Gymnastics saved me. I hated gymnastics. And Victoria's actually probably one of them, that she got really burnt out from club and stuff. And Staples Gymnastics, she found her passion back in the sport. And I just love that about it. So I think it really is, gymnastics and club gymnastics can be very grueling. And we try to make it the opposite of that. And I just love that all the girls at the end really even communicate with us, talk to us still, and they have this. It's a very small community, and you all know each other. So I really love that bond we have. It's
so great. It becomes something you carry on for the rest of your life, right? The bonds you make. How about you, Victoria?
I would agree. The bonds I've made with my teammates, with Kelsey, it's really hard to find in the gymnastics world. Unfortunately, it's hard to find coaches like her who support you and who push you without pushing you too hard, where you feel like you're burnt out, where you hate the sport. And she really brought my love back to gymnastics, and I've been fortunate to have good coaches over the past few years. But also a memory just in general was going to States. Last year we got a party bus, and it was one of the first times we were even given a bus by the school. And we had to be, I don't remember what it was, but it was far away at 8 a.m. So we were on the bus at 7, and we were just blasting music, and the energy really says something. And I think that the energy we had there really contributed to our second place finish that day.
That's amazing. And it's so fun you say that, because when we used to do rec, so my kids played rec soccer and travel soccer, and the big difference to me was really not the games, but was the things around the games. In travel, you'd go, like you just mentioned, you go to a tournament. So you spend all that time away from your comfort zone, but you stick together, right? And that's what sticks with you. So then we started doing a rec tournament, so all the kids would stand together the whole day. And that was everybody said, well, I don't know who won the game, but I do remember that day sitting with my friends between the games, right? And so, Coach, to add to that, so if someone is out there listening to us, watching us, and they're thinking about, well, how do I get involved in gymnastics? What's my path to make that Staples team, to be with you guys? What would you recommend that would be?
I would just say get started. It's never too late. I know that the YMCA where we practice has teen classes, or they have mommy and me classes. They have a little program at 2 years old you can start. I started at 2 years old, and all the way through I've never, not been in a gym. But just don't be afraid to get started. We had a captain a couple years ago. She started in 7th grade and became an all-state gymnast. That's very rare, but it does happen, and it's never too late. It really isn't. And people say, oh, you age out of the sport. It's becoming the average age now of the elites used to be 15, 16 during the Bella Caroli, that Romanian era, and now the average Olympian last time was 25. So it really is trending upwards with all the health and safety. But just come to a gym. Don't be afraid to sign up for a teen tumbling class. Don't be afraid to just come check us out. We're always here to, come support. So.
Yeah, of course. And Victoria, what would you say to someone who is thinking about, different sports? What would be the biggest pitch? Say, this is why you should do gymnastics.
Well, I think gymnastics can help you with anything you face later in life. It teaches you discipline, but also it just prepares your body for a lot of other sports. And my sister did gymnastics for a long time before switching over to field hockey, and my mom always says that it really impacted her for the better, and I've seen that with a lot of athletes.
Yeah, I think it has to, because what you put your body through, right? I mean, you strengthen your muscles, you strengthen your core, like you said. Yeah, you mentioned all that, so it seems like it's a lot of things. So listen, I want to thank you guys for being on the show. It's been so great to have you. I am excited about the season. I'll make sure that, we get you guys out there and everybody finds out about it. And what I've been finding since we started PrepZone is that every sport event we go to, we have so much fun at it.
Yeah.
And we find great people and everyone that competes. And the level of competition is insane. It's so hard. And now, before I go, I just want to ask one quick question about, the season. You guys do meets at home and away? Mm-hmm.
Correct.
So if we were to look for that, Instagram's a place where you guys get everything out, the school website. How do people get involved and find out about it?
So you can either go to our school website, or we have our Instagram, Staples Gymnastics, and we can post all of our meets on there as well. And you can just come in. It's free except for FCX and states, but you're more than welcome to come. Just follow us on Instagram, or that we always tag everybody. We tag PrepZone, Root and Report, and we tag the Staples AD, so hopefully they'll retweet us. So
yeah, we'll get you guys out there.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, listen, I can't wait. And when's your first meet?
In January, so we have a lot of prep time. I think it is, our first home meet is the week of January, probably 10th or 11th.
Okay, great. All right. And is that home?
Mm-hmm.
All right. YMCA, Bedford. Everybody knows YMCA, right?
Yeah.
And you're right. That facility has been great since they put it together. It's been phenomenal. So I do still remember the old YMCA, downtown. Yep. And that was definitely tired, but this one's been amazing. So listen, before we let you guys go, I want to do quick hits. All right. So we're gonna ask questions. We'll go. You guys take turns answering them, and we'll let everybody find out a little bit about you personally. Okay.
Right.
All right. So, favorite Taylor Swift song?
You got this one.
I literally have so many. This is so hard. Out of the Woods.
Out of the Woods.
Oh, there's so many. I guess I'll go Love Story.
Okay, good ones. All right. TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram.
TikTok.
She's younger.
Favorite movie or series?
Harry Potter.
I love Friends.
I'm with you.
my era.
And it's back, and then
It's
everybody,
back. I know.
everybody's watching it now. It's crazy. All right. Since we're getting close to Christmas, if you had to remove one food from your Christmas things that you do, what would that be? Think about, some people do ham, whatever it is. What would you guys?
I guess ham.
You get rid of
like
ham.
ham.
Not a sweet potato girl.
There you go. All right. Math or English?
Math.
English.
All right. Fiction or nonfiction?
Fiction.
I love reading, so both. I love autobiographies, but I do love a good James Patterson or fiction. I'm a reader.
Yeah, love James Patterson too. What was the series of he had a whole series of The Detective?
Alex Cross.
That's it. Yeah, I remember. That's when I started getting to audiobooks.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I'm a big podcast. I like podcasts.
Yeah.
I also, they're Gymternet. I like a lot of gymnastics nerdy podcasts.
Yeah, that stuff is really good. All right, beach or sightseeing?
Beach.
Beach.
One thing you can't live without?
My dog.
My mom.
If you could have lunch with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
I got no one. Pressure's on, Victoria.
Madison Koshin.
Nice.
Okay, who is that?
She's a gymnast, 2016 gymnast that was on the 2016 Rio Olympics team.
And she just graduated medical school, so she's brilliant.
Oh, there you go. Good one. Okay. And now the last one. If you could go back and relive one day of your life, what would that day be? Think about all the memories you've had. It can be staples, it can be a personal thing. But if you go back and relive one day, say, man, I'd like to do that day over. What would that be?
Over the summer when I was on a boat with my cousins who live in Spain, it was just really peaceful.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would probably say we used to summer in Martha's Vineyard, and those are really fun family times. So a trip or something like that.
Yeah, we had guys from Westport fan, and one of them said that he just wanted to go back to junior high and be at camp. Right? I mean, that's the thing. It's it doesn't have to be one specific thing. It can just be a memory of something. But we live so many days in our lives, but to go back to those moments where we're special. So that was great. Mm-hmm. Well, ladies, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks
best of luck in the season, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you
for having us.